On behalf of the Our Lady of Consolation Friars, we have been putting together these Fervorinos for you as a way to bring some words of inspiration, words of hope. And we have great hope when the Mother of God is behind us. You know, May is the month for Mary, and we can celebrate that in a special way by a retreat that's being offered virtually, live streamed right into your home devices. And you simply sign up with it by sending an email off to this organization that has these top-notch speakers, all speaking on the motherhood of Mary, coming up tomorrow and the next 3 days. So you might sign up for that as a way to honor this month of Mary in May, and also a way to look at that motherhood of Mary. You know, I had one friar come up to me in formation and say, "Are you a mama's boy?" And I said, "I don't think we know each other well enough for me to tell you that answer to that." And I looked at his shirt, and he was pointing in the back of his shirt, and he turned around on the back of his shirt and said, "Are you a mama's boy?" And he turned around, showed me the front, and it had Our Lady of Consolation on the front. And I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm a mama's boy." Just this Mother's Day weekend, I ran into one of our pilgrims who came to us by way of a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. And he hopped off the motorcycle and was looking quite big and rough in this leather outfit and chains, of course, dangling all over. And he seemed pretty rugged. And I said, "What brings you here to the shrine?" He says, "Oh, I've never missed a year. I come to give thanks to my Heavenly Mother, because it was her that allowed my mother, thought to be barren, to have me as a child. And I've come back every year to give thanks to our Heavenly Mother." Indeed, he was a mama's boy. You know, that takes a bit of daring to acknowledge that you are a mama's boy and that you're acknowledging the motherhood of Mary and her key role in the salvific plan of God, that she played this great role of suffering. She suffered greatly. In fact, when she first met Simeon during the presentation, what did he say? "This child will bring you great sorrow and will pierce your heart with sorrow." She went on with Jesus, and they had to escape to Egypt as refugees, and she suffered with Joseph, fleeing the persecution of the slaughter of innocents. Mary also lost her son in the temple when he was an adolescent, and she suffered that loss. She witnessed Jesus right there with him on the way to the cross, and she saw him on the way to the cross and must have suffered something greatly. She also suffered at the foot of the cross, seeing Jesus die before her very eyes, and then lowering his body from that cross and placing him in the tomb. Mary knew all about suffering. She knows all about sorrows, and she can identify with our plight and our sorrows. You know, it was Mary who was there with us in 1865 with her children suffering from the cholera pandemic that swept across Europe. She was with her children when they suffered through the Spanish flu in 1916 and suffered through that. And she's with us now in this COVID crisis of pandemic as well. And placing our intercessions into the hands of our mother, that's good company, because she knows all about suffering. There was one seminarian who was going to school at the University of Luxembourg, and right during the cholera epidemic that was going right across the area where he was in and affecting the University of Luxembourg where he was studying, and he feared for his life. But he made this promise to Our Lady of Consolation that if you preserve my life, if you save me, and God willing I become a priest, then I'm going to dedicate my first church to you. Well, he did that very thing, became ordained, went across the ocean, came to Cary, Ohio, and named his first church, changed it from St. Edward's to Our Lady of Consolation. He came through on his word. Indeed, he's a mama's boy. You know, if we want to break this COVID crisis, this grip that is on our culture, I think we need to look to Our Lady of Consolation, who sorrows for us, who weeps for us. She sorrows for us when we sin. She sorrows for us when we see a friend die. She sorrows with us when we grieve for someone who's lost their life to COVID-19. She grieves and sorrows for us when we can't get near our loved ones in the nursing home just to hold their hand. She sorrows when there's souls that are dying and have no one to pray for them. We know the role of the sorrowful mother. In the words right above the image of the sorrowful mother, we're reminded, she says, "All ye that pass by the way, attend and see if there be any sorrow like to my sorrow." Through the role of her Son and redemptive suffering that suffered for our sins upon the cross, we know all about the value of redemptive suffering. And this is what Mary did. She internalized all these sufferings into her heart, as Simeon prophesied so well, and those sorrows ached within her. She knows all about suffering, and we can lean upon her with our sorrows. This is our call. This is what gives us a sense of hope in this time, that we can lean upon our Heavenly Mother who knows all about sorrow. I want to lift up some of the prayers that you all have sent forward to us here at the Shrine of Our Lady of Consolation, through telephone, through media, and all different avenues. We're lifting up your prayers, like for Chris, who asked to pray for the safety and health and conversion of his family members. We're remembering Susan, who asked us to pray for her sons. Remember Mary, who asked us to pray for their serious financial situation. We're praying for Jim and his wife Kim, who's really suffering from bad knee problems. We're praying for Jenny, that she asked for prayers for a boy named Braden, who suffers from deep depression. Shayla gives a great, giant prayer of gratitude for Our Lady of Consolation for saving her nephew Joe twice. The first miracle was when he was born to parents who thought were to be barren for 8 years. And the other miracle was for the recovery from a tragic accident 5 years ago. Thank you, Our Lady of Consolation, for your protection over her family. And lastly, Holly asked us to pray for Gwen and Joe's happy marriage to come on June 6th. We remember you in our prayers, and we ask you to remember us as well. Peace and all good things.